for KLOS.com. This is a first. I'm Stew, and today our special guests, my special guests, are Erik Turner and Stephen Sweet.
Hey, a minute ago you said we were guinea pigs.
You
What's
kind
going
of
on
are
here,
guinea
man?
pigs. This is the first one. This is my very first interview for KLOS on a camera. You know, and it only took me about 17 years to get here.
That was my question. Was how long has this been a brainchild of yours?
In training for 17 years.
Wow. What were you doing 17 years ago? Think about that.
Playing Warrant records.
Excellent. So
God bless you.
where did you get your start?
Oh, yeah.
How did you
See
get
how we
into
just
radio?
quickly
Wait,
flipped
so you're
the
not going to
interview?
flip this script that fast.
Said we're guinea pigs. You didn't know what kind of guinea pigs we are, though. So
Wow. So Erik and Stephen, you probably recognize them from Warrant.
Or
But
maybe not.
But today we're
Or the
talking about a
grocery store.
different project that you guys are involved with, and tell us a little about it.
Me? Do I get to talk now? All right. Yeah, you know, in Warrant, we're loud and proud, and it's a lot of fun, you know, playing on 11 all the time, but it's also nice to do something a little more toned down and acoustic and intimate. So, you know, we had this idea to do, basically, if you're familiar with the Monster Ballad CDs, it has, like, you know, ballads from Poison and Def Leppard and Mr. Big and,
That's
you know,
an actual
Warrant.
CD, right?
Yeah,
Monster
it sold millions of copies, so I thought it'd be kind of cool to do a little project, Sunset Strip, and play a lot of those songs acoustically in an intimate setting with cold drinks and and all that good stuff. So
waitresses.
that's how Sunset Strip was born, and we're playing at the Brixton in Redondo Beach coming up on Thursday, and this will only be our second gig.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so
Now, I knew this was towards the beginning of this project, Sunset Stripped. Where was the first gig?
it was in Temecula at a biker rally.
Awesome.
It's called the Help Ride. Actually, Gilby Clark was the host, and they had a bunch of different performers.
Yeah.
And you know, we're good friends with the promoters, and they had us come down and play, and we had a blast. It was a lot of fun, and so we're gonna keep it going. We got a couple gigs. We're also playing at the Galaxy on Friday, January 14th, I believe it is.
Is it the Guitar Bangers Ball for
Yeah.
the NAMM, sort of part of the NAMM convention?
One of the
but,
NAMM,
But it's one of the
events.
nights where people just go out after
Yeah.
the show
And that'll be
lose some-
hugely attended because that room, it doesn't, yeah.
Yeah, they talked us into playing. I was a little, you know, because everybody's going to be playing, you know, shredding guitar and really loud amps and stuff, and we're going to,
You're gonna be
be up there.
strumming.
Kumbaya,
Gently
kumbaya.
shredding, gentle shred.
Gentle shredding.
Gentle shred on the ears.
So this Brixton show, and let's not get ahead of ourselves. When is the Brixton show?
This Thursday night, January 6th, 2011.
We're actually playing in front of Driving and Crying
Oh,
from
awesome.
Atlanta band.
Great.
Yeah, very cool band, and it should be a lot of fun. Warrant played the Brixton, I don't know, year and a half ago, 2 years ago. So it'll be nice to go back there and play again. You know, they always treat us real good. Adam's great out there, and we
Brixton's
appreciate
a very
the
nice
chance.
room. It's been a lot of things over the years, but I think it's the most beautiful that it's ever been. It's got carpeted walls,
room, yeah.
and if you go nuts in there, you could run as fast and hard as you want, and you can run right into the pillars and, you know, feel like being in a rubber room.
Yeah, knock yourself out.
I wouldn't.
And you've done this. I'm gathering. Or you've seen
I hope
I've seen it done.
I hope you had your pants on when you did that.
they were on fire.
Yeah, if you're looking
was
for
running.
information online, the Sunset Stripped, you may be at it for a while, but this,
Yeah, that's our promo flyer.
can you see that?
Who are those handsome
Look at
devils?
those guys.
Good camera work, by the way.
Yeah.
See that? Zooming in.
Oh, I know. He's
Very subtle.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about Warrant.
Yeah.
Because
Yes, let's
you guys
do.
are both still in Warrant.
Yeah, we just played a
Or-
couple shows. This last, we played New Year's Eve in Green Bay. We played a couple nights before that in Michigan with Brett Michaels and Firehouse. This 2010 was a great year for us. You know, we played all year long, and we started writing a record, got a new record deal. We're actually going to start recording the record in January, and it looks like we're going to be working with Keith Olsen, which for those of you who don't know Keith Olsen, he's done everybody from Fleetwood Mac and Foreigner to Ozzy and Whitesnake. So we're really excited about starting the new record with Keith as well.
Wow.
I'm extremely excited because he did the Footloose soundtrack, the Flashdance soundtrack, and the Top Gun soundtrack.
That says something. That's great.
Steve's a movie buff.
Wealth of musical material and
Yikes.
variety.
I'd like to see you do the Footloose dance.
Could you just do a little? Okay.
Can you do a little Footloose for us here?
Now, Warrant's gone through a bajillion changes and lineup changes, and you're in, you're out. Who's in Warrant right now?
Well, we tried a reunion with Janie Lane in 2008, and it didn't last long. Didn't go well. what came out of it really good is we got Robert Mason on vocals for the last 2.5 years, and we've done well over 100 shows with
Did
Robert.
You know that Robert was at our Christmas show?
Yes, I did.
I knew he was in the All-Star.
Yeah.
Like the All-Stars.
I think it must have been, who brought him in?
I don't know. He was like, what? He was even saying, I don't know why I'm here, but they picked me. So
Yeah, he did Running with the Devil with
tore it
Michael
up.
Anthony and Steve Lukather, Greg Bissonette. I forget who else was there, but
I think maybe Mark Bonilla brought him in.
Yeah,
He
it
was the
could be.
band later. But
It
all
could
of a
be.
sudden we're like, hey, that's
It's
who's
singer
that guy?
from
That's
Warrant.
Robert Mason from Warrant.
He was also in Lynch Mob and Cry of Love, and he's done a bunch of different, studio work over the years.
So he's your singer.
He's our singer. He's phenomenal, and we've been writing songs, and it's going great. So we have myself and Steven, original members. We have Jerry and Joey, which are also original members. So we got 4 out of 5 original guys since 2004. We've been back together.
Powerhouse vocalist who has sort of made this band stronger all around. For having worked with Robert and being that his level of profession is so high.
I agree.
And I would say, I mean,
Would you say he's so high?
oh, is he high?
High all the time.
Oh, well, that's
He's high on life and music.
He's a professional.
Yes.
We'll
He's
just leave it there.
he's also the new voice of I'm in the Band on the Disney Channel.
Is he really?
Yeah,
and I'm sure
yeah,
George
I love that
Lynch
show.
put him through all kinds of his paces back in those days.
Yeah, that he actually worked with Keith Olsen on the Lynch Mob record. I think that's when he first met Keith.
There's a lot of stuff that's written about Warrant, and I've kind of, preparing to meet you guys, was, realized, you and Janie kind of were, as far as when Warrant really blew up and people got to know all you guys, you two had been together for the longest. Is that accurate?
At that time, he and I made our way through different routes from Ohio to Florida and then out to California, and we had a band prior to joining up with Warrant.
Right.
And we were
They were called Plain Jane.
both bands were sort of at a even competitive level on the Strip at the time that both bands then lost several members, leaving Janie and I and Erik and Jerry and Josh Lewis at the time to form and keep the name Warrant.
So,
Long story short, basically, Plain Jane was out gigging, Warrant was out gigging. We had a different singer and different drummer at the time, and our singer and drummer left the band, and the first person we thought of to replace our singer was Janie Lane. We were really impressed. I didn't know him.
Really?
We just played a couple shows with him or with Plain Jane, our bands together, and we were really impressed with the vocals and as a front man and everything. So we're like, man, let's see if we can get a hold of that guy. And luckily we did right before you guys were about to move back to Florida. And so in '84, Warrant started. In '86, Janie and Steven joined forces with us, and that's when everything really started to take off for us.
Describe that scene. I mean, everybody talks about the Strip, but I still love hearing about, your guys' through your focus, how you experienced Hollywood and the Strip in those days.
You didn't have to spend any money on parking. You didn't have to spend any money on anything, really.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even about paying to get into a club. You would just go hang out, and it was really, there was no such thing as no loitering back then, and everybody just hung around and loitered the hell out of the Strip.
From Doheny down to Clark and maybe further.
Yeah. And then, the whole point about going out was to promote your band. And so there were just a million bands doing the same thing, handing out flyers. But for some reason, our approach had a different edge to it, and we were everywhere. Like in any given night, if there were more than one show going on in an area, we would just fan out and, hit Orange County at the same time, hit LA.
Wow.
So it was a sort of brutal assault on the loiterers.
Yeah, rock and roll soldiers. We hit it hard. We promoted hard. We tried to make our flyers stand out from other people's flyers. When people came out to our shows, we tried to put on we would build different backdrops and different sets and change our show up. Sometimes we'd have a Western theme. Sometimes we'd have these giant Marshalls, stacks and that we built ourselves that were like way oversized. We always tried to put on a show and make it an event. And what happened is we started, the country club was like 1,000-seat club.
It was a big hall.
And and a lot of national acts would come through there, and they could barely sell 500 tickets, and we were an unsigned act, and we would sell it out 2 nights in a row, 1,000 people a night clean. So we became little rock stars in our own area code, and we got treated as such. Like Steven was saying, we'd go out and drink for free and get into clubs for free, and it was a lot of fun.
So it was a great ride almost from the get-go, and when it really blew up, with a record label, with airplay, with MTV, I mean, your head's...
It was pretty quick.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you think about how long bands are together that are still trying to get record deals, and it happened relatively quick for Warrant, but it by any means, it did not feel instantaneous to us because we'd been doing it...
Sure. Well, you've been living your
incessantly
life
for a couple of years straight.
Yeah.
And then when it did happen, like you said, though, it did sort of blow up, and it was at the height of the Dial MTV... and all just all those bands that came out of the Sunset Strip zone, Motley to Rat to Poison to Guns N' Roses to LA Guns, and we were kind of on the tail end of that.
Are you guys ever surprised, or what are your thoughts on just the longevity of, or the popularity of the songs, and how many different avenues? I mean, you couldn't have even imagined all the different uses and the ways that music finds a way to an audience today.
Yeah, it is interesting. Back when we were selling millions of records and happening, if you had your song in a car commercial or something like that, that was kind of like a kiss of death, and you had no integrity and you were selling out. And now it's like everybody in the world's fighting to get their songs in TV commercials and movies and stuff like that. So, for example, like Heaven right now, it's in a Gain detergent commercial.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I swear to God.
But it's also
I mean,
guys
who
are-
would have ever thought, someday your
Right.
Heaven's going to be in a Gain commercial or whatever the other commercials are that it's...
Well,
that
those
it's been in.
girls, those little girls are now doing the laundry for their families, right?
They're like, for some reason, I have to use Gain.
It's the TV
Makes me
toys.
cry when I hear that commercial.
Clothes aren't too far away.
Well, you could take any of the songs, and like Hostess could use Cherry Pie perhaps, but that would probably...
That's a good idea. I hope you're listening, Hostess.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
and then video games,
maybe
too.
Marie Callender's, if they
Yeah.
can't afford it, but Hostess could.
Yeah, they could afford it.
Yeah?
Anyways, also video games, Cherry Pie is in Guitar Hero 2, and that really has brought out like a whole new legion of young rockers that are interested in all the songs that are on those games.
Kids who are wanting to play real guitar through Guitar Hero. And I had a drum student who wanted to play drums because he was playing Rock Band, and he wanted to learn how to play Run to the Hills. And
Oh, good.
That
Well,
was
that's
so it's-
heartening, because when you, I don't know, for me, when I think of all the kids that are just spending hours and hours and hours playing the game, I'm like, if you should be devoting those hours to the actual, right?
get rid of the buttons and pick up something with 6 strings on it.
Right.
Yeah, and I think a lot of kids are doing that because
They are. Yeah.
because they got turned on to this music from Guitar Hero, and if it hadn't been for the video game, they might have thought of not even playing. I mean, maybe someday there'll be some guitar god in 2020 saying, "What are your influences?" and he'll say, "Guitar Hero 2."
Cherry Pie.
The world's greatest guitar player got turned on to music from Guitar Player. You never know.
All right. Well, the project is Sunset Stripped. The Brixton this Thursday, the 6th, right?
Yeah, Thursday the
And
6th.
then later in January, probably more like around the 20th or so.
It's the 14th, at the Galaxy. Yeah,
At the Galaxy.
in Costa Mesa. Both the Galaxy and Brixton are owned or run by the same people, so might as well promote them both.
And just to clarify what our lineup is, it's Erik and myself and another friend of ours, Michael James, who's shredding on the 12 string.
Oh.
And I am Warrant's drummer, but now I sing lead on the song, so that's my part in this lineup.
Oh, cool.
Which I said was so refreshing to not have to lug drum gear. I'm like, thank you.
Oh, are you playing any like percussion
No,
at
I'm
all?
not playing anything.
So there is no percussion. You're playing.
I'm singing.
Yeah. And is there a bass player? Did I miss that?
No, just two acoustics.
Two
and-
acoustics.
Yeah.
And the dulcet
12
tones of
string,
Stephen
6
Tweed.
string.
yeah. Golden voice, yes.
Yeah, so it's really stripped down. That's hence the name Sunset Stripped. It all kind of plays on each other. So it's a lot of fun. And you can also follow us on go to warrantrocks.com and follow us on Twitter and Facebook and all that good stuff. This is the era of social networking, so I got to be sociable.
Network away.